And you have a degree in history, so I'd love to hear, like, what kind of research do you do for your books?
So it, I'm less like strict, I think, than a lot of writers and a lot of readers. I don't mind so much if there's some liberties taken. Of course, I mean, I do, of course, do research and I do want it to feel authentic, but I'm okay with like little details being inconsistent. I know some readers are really bothered by that. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of my background in writing historical is just because I've read like hundreds and hundreds of them. So it's not
Mhm.
research per se, it's just, like, about the feeling that you get from those stories. I mean, I do have tons of craft books and things like that that I use and, to check, certain things, and I do love when authors add, in the notes or something like something real that happened within the fictional world, that exists in the story, but I'm not, like, pulled into it either the way
Yeah.
some historical authors are.
What era of history did you research in your degree?
Pretty broad. Mostly, I looked at, United States history, but we had to take a pretty broad discipline, I guess, and we had to have, parts of everything. I like seeing the parallels between the present and the past,
Mhm.
much in the same way that my historicals and contemporaries have that. Like, I like thinking about the people and how they were different, but also how, like, a lot of things, like, on the inside have stayed the same.
Yeah. Are there any, like, historical eras or maybe events that you've studied that aren't in the Regency period that you really wish or hope to write a book about?
No, but maybe the other period that I really love in historicals is like the Gilded Age, the New York sort of environment. I don't know if I'll ever write in it.
Mhm.
I'm a very like intuitive writer, so I can't like plan it. The
Mm.
ideas and the characters have to come, and then I just have to like sit down and start writing and figure out where it goes. So I can't
Yeah.
decide that like I want to write this or that because it's just not the way that my brain works.
Yeah. So what does normally come first? Is it typically dialogue, characters, some plot idea?
It's definitely characters and just like a general sort of like thought about, like, what their struggle could be, a lot of, like, what their conflict is, like, the depth of, like, who they are and what they want and what they think they want versus what they really want. So it's a lot of character for me first. Um, the early part of the writing is a lot of deleting, actually. There's a lot. Like, for this book, I wrote, like, 4 prologues probably. It's just not even a prologue in the book anymore because like, none of them worked, but I needed them all to know what happened before,
Mhm.
even though the words are never in the book, like, I know their backstory, and that
Mhm.
matters because it, like, informs what they do and how they decide things, so I end up writing things that I don't use, or I don't need, or have to cut,
Yeah.
like, chapters, especially in the early that I love, but they don't work for the story, and then it's like, delete, delete, delete.
Yeah. That's interesting. So it's very character based. And are you a visual thinker or is it really you have to be writing to get your imagination going?
I have to be writing, but also, like, I find a lot of times when I get stuck, particularly in the middle-ish part, like, where is this going? That I have to, like, step back, and then, I'll be, like, cutting vegetables for dinner or, like, driving my kids somewhere, and I'll be like, "I got it. I know. Like, I know what has to happen. I know the direction it has to go." So, it's a lot of, like, patience and, sometimes it's a lot of words and sometimes very slow and painful, but just
Mhm.
waiting for it to come and, like, trusting that I will get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm similar. I mostly am writing when I'm creative, but then there are times when I'm like, I'm stuck. And then I stand up and leave the room and just walking, I have like, oh, obviously this is the solution. I don't know why I couldn't think of that while I was sitting down.
Yes, absolutely. Like, that was one of the biggest lessons maybe that I learned as I got further into writing is that sometimes you really have to just step back,
Yeah.
take a walk, or, like, go have a snack or something because your brain is still working on that thing even when you're not, like, prodding it to.